Hey book lovers! Alright, so today we are going to be doing chapter 3 of Solid Education. But before I get started, I just wanted to show off my hat. And my shirt. I'm going to be doing a video on a certain theme soon. So I figured I'd give a little teaser. Anyway, let's hit the intro.
I don't do it by the book, no, I do my own thing. That's why every single hook got them singing like me. And I ain't in any rush, cause I'm finally getting paid. Don't believe in any luck, I believe I'm self-made, yeah.
If you haven't seen, or, heard the first chapter of Solid Education, you can go back over here and check it out. There's also part 2. You may have noticed that the sound is a little bit different in this video. I've been working on improving that. I only have certain tools to work with, but I've found some software that hopefully will improve the sound a little bit. I may have to eventually re-record chapter 1 and 2 to have it at the same quality, but for now, I hope it's okay. And I'd love to hear in the comments what you guys think so far. Alright, so let's get started. Chapter 3. Wednesday, Gage made sure he got to Paulson's class 5 minutes early. Not that he hadn't been given a subtle warning just a few hours ago. If Paulson brought up being late again, Gage slumped into his chair and rubbed his eyes with the heel of his palms. He was too tired to even come up with a viable threat. He'd gotten a full 8 hours on Paulson's living room floor, but he had a lot of sleep to catch up on. This morning had been better than most, though. Opening his eyes and trying not to laugh too loud and wake up the professor as Maddie covered his face in wet doggy kisses. Things had been weird with Paulson after that. The man was serious about being professional. He'd made coffee again, asked Gage if he'd ever had a dog, then shut down when Gage couldn't answer. And he told Gage to keep the chemistry textbook, right before pointedly hinting that Gage should go home and get ready for class. That had been around 5 a.m. Maddie looked better, so Gage had left Paulson his number and asked him to call if there was anything he needed to know. Paulson's receptionist was supposed to stop by and check on her today. Maybe Paulson wouldn't mind if Gage stopped by after his second class, chemistry. Maybe going into the veterinary field wasn't such a good idea after all. He was failing chemistry and he had no illusions about suddenly getting a grip on the subject matter and catching up, but he had no idea what else to do with his life. He'd wanted to be a Marine like his daddy since he was 5 years old. Being medically discharged left him with no goals other than to care for animals. If he couldn't do that, he had nothing. I can do this. I have to. He opened his notebook and briefly looked over the assignment from the class he'd missed. One of the other students who'd been stationed with him briefly a few years back, a reserve man, had slipped Gage a copy of all his notes. He didn't talk to Gage much. He seemed to know Gage didn't want his pity, but he was doing what he could to make sure Gage didn't lose what was left of his hope for the future. Professor Paulson started the class, asking questions, ignoring Gage whenever he lifted his hand with an answer. Gage fisted his hand against his thigh, not sure what Paulson's problem with him was. He took notes and filled out the assignment, then lingered after the class ended and the other students filed out. If you stay behind to ask about Maddie, she's doing well. Paulson stuffed his books into his briefcase, only glancing over at Gage once. There's no need for you to come over tomorrow, but stop by on Friday after your afternoon class, if you can. I will. Gage walked up to Paulson's desk and stared at the cold, unreadable man. A very different man than the one he'd caught glimpses of while caring for Maddie. And maybe that was his fault. He'd pushed a bit just to get a reaction. Hadn't gotten the one he wanted. He was used to dealing with both soldiers who were his equals and men who ranked above him, but he couldn't put Paulson in either category, and maybe he should find a way. So he carefully thought over what to say to clarify where Paulson should fit. Do you have a problem with me, or is the student thing freaking you out? Okay, apparently his mouth wasn't interested in the careful thing. Fuck. I have no issue with you being my student. Paulson gave Gage a cold smile that clearly said, "Go away." Gage didn't budge. "You're a lot nicer to your other students." Paulson snorted. "I'm sorry, Mr. Tackett. I didn't realize I wasn't being nice to you. Are you having trouble with the assignments? I can recommend a tutor." "I don't need a tutor for your class, and you know it. This wasn't the place for this conversation, but Gage couldn't let it go. I like you a lot more when you're not being a condescending son of a bitch." "You're under the impression I care if you like me, Mr. Tackett." Slamming his fists on the desk, Gage moved closer to Paulson, keeping his tone low. "Stop fucking calling me that." Paulson looked over at the closed door, then at Gage, his eyes narrowing. "No. I will continue to refer to you in a way that makes our relationship clear." "Our relationship?" Gage folded his arms over his chest and arched a brow. Two could play at this game. If Paulson wanted to throw his words in his face, Gage would do the same. "Maybe that's the issue, Professor. Do we have a relationship I'm not aware of?" This time it was Paulson who moved closer, speaking in a harsh whisper while keeping one eye on the door. "I think you're doing. I suggest you stop. This whole conversation is inappropriate. You're playing a very dangerous game, Mr. Tackett." "I'm not playing, Derek. Not yet, anyway." The man had a point, but Gage didn't give a shit about what was appropriate. Being reminded of the forbidden made exactly what he wanted very clear. He hadn't been this fucking turned on by the prospect of seducing another man since his first days as a Marine. He gave the nervous professor a slow, provocative smile. "I'll see you Friday." Friday morning, Derek found himself staring at that one empty seat again. He didn't let Gage's absence distract him for long, but the sun shining brightly through the clear skies irritated him. Unless Gage was hunting another stray, he had absolutely no excuse to miss class. Derek assigned the class a 2,000-word paper on breed behavior. The students were encouraged to visit local shelters or animal clinics to make practical observations. He knew a handful of students would ask to use his clinic, so he ended with a brief explanation of why it wasn't an option. Working directly with him wouldn't be fair, and he preferred keeping his two jobs separate. He was grateful that his students didn't question his limits. Only one student was prone to pushing. Derek should be relieved that he wasn't here. But he wasn't. For lunch, Derek stopped in at a local restaurant, Sunshine, which served breakfast all day long. As luck would have it, the student he couldn't stop thinking about was sitting at a back table with a group of young men and one girl. The girl fit in well with the boys. She was dressed in a loose, gray Kathia Cougars t-shirt, her brown hair in a ponytail. She sat next to Gage, tipping back a bottle of root beer and digging into her pancakes with no more decorum than her male counterparts. Actually, all of them ate like they might lose their food if they didn't finish fast. The girl laid out a protesting laugh as Gage wrapped an arm over her shoulders and dug his fingers into her ribs. Well, that answers that question. Gage's behavior had made Derek wonder if he was gay, but half the men at the table were athletes. The girl looked like she could be one, but she was probably just there with Gage. The way she touched his cheek was tender. The mood around the table turned somber at whatever she asked him. A nudge drew Derek from his observations. He smiled at Jane Strider, a new history teacher he'd met at the beginning of the school year. Her hair was shorter than his, but suited her delicate features. She worked hard to overcome the lack of respect she got from looking so young, even though she was a few years older than Derek. She was involved with one of the school's LGBT groups, which was how they'd met. He'd spoken at a couple of the meetings to show his support. There were few openly gay professors, and being among them, she made sure he felt welcome. But she clicked her tongue as she followed his gaze. "Please tell me you're not interested in one of the army boys." "Army boys?" Derek frowned and looked over at the table again. Yes, he could see them all being military, including Gage, which solved one huge piece of the puzzle. "Why would I bother? They don't get involved in..." "Oh, sweetie, things have changed." You should keep yourself informed. The military doesn't care who you're sleeping with so long as you can do your job. Bullshit. It's the truth. Two of the boys are gay, but I won't tell you who because it's none of my business, and you're still a teacher. She patted his arm and gestured to a table near the picture window. Once they'd both ordered, she leaned forward, a curious glint in her eyes. All I said aside, which one is it? Derek took a sip of coffee and lifted his brow at her. Which one is what? Oh, you know what I mean. You haven't dated since you started working here. You're right. But I'm hardly going to explore a relationship with a student. As a friend, Derek knew Jane would press him to talk if she thought he was hiding something. For that matter, if he kept Maddie engaged to himself, there was a good chance someone would find out and assume the worst. So he would simply eliminate the risk by being honest. One of the students brought an injured dog to me the other day and has been stopping by frequently to check on her. He's unable to keep her at his place. He missed class today. The second one he's missed this week. I was surprised to see him here. Is he one of your students? She looked over her shoulder, giggling when Derek cleared his throat and drew her attention back to him. Sorry, but it's so scandalous. So much for telling you the truth, so you wouldn't come to the wrong conclusion. Derek folded his hands in front of his coffee mug. If you must know, the student whose dog I am caring for is Gage Tackett. He and his girlfriend seem quite happy, so get your mind out of the gutter. Gage? Her eyes widened, but he's not. There was movement at Derek's side. He closed his eyes and bit back a curse. He didn't need to see Gage to know he was the one who joined them. And with the young man's stupid mouth spouting off the most inflammatory things at any given moment, Derek would have a very hard time convincing Jane there was nothing between them. Even though there was nothing. Mandy isn't my girlfriend, Professor Paulson. Gage smirked when Derek opened his eyes and scowled at him. Then the obstinate young man took Derek's coffee and tipped it to his mouth. Licking his lips, he met Derek's cold gaze. I am gay, and I'm not one of your students anymore. Derek's jaw ticked. Mr. Tackett, it's Gage. But you know that already. He flashed Jane his most charming smile. I apologize for the interruption, but I heard my name and wanted to make sure the professor wasn't talking shit about me. I wouldn't do that, Gage. Derek stood, stepping out of the booth and forcing Gage to back away from the table. Go back to your friends, or get out of here. I will be speaking to you tonight. It's obvious you need to be taught some damn manners. I can't wait. Gage nodded to Jane. A pleasure, ma'am. He shifted closer to Derek to let the waitress pass. You finally figured out how to say my name. I like that. Heat rose up the back of Derek's neck. He was tempted to either punch Gage or kiss him. He did neither. Which may change after tonight. Gage chuckled. I doubt that. So, things may be heating up in the next chapter. I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. Let me know in the comments down there. And also, I may be forgetting. Like, subscribe, ring that little bell, and I'll see you in the next video.